Hydrogen is the smallest atom in existence. You might have noted in your chemistry classes when you look at the periodic table of elements, it's the very top left element. It's the very first one. Hydrogen is the fundamental element. It was the first element to ever exist, and it's the basis of all other elements. So all other elements came from hydrogen. So it composes 90% of the universe, so it's present, very present, and available throughout the universe. One of the most important aspects of hydrogen is that it is a carrier of electrons. It transports energy. So all sources of energy contain hydrogen. The more hydrogen a source of energy has, the more energy it contains. For example, if you think about the sun is a great ball of energy that powers the earth basically, and it is composed of 90% hydrogen. Gasoline, on the other hand, which is a fuel source for our car engines, contains 18 hydrogens, and glucose contains 12 hydrogen. Glucose is the fuel for our cells, and it contains 12 hydrogen. So the more hydrogen something has, relatively, you can tell how much energy that thing has. So how do we create energy? We create energy from breaking down glucose, which comes from our food, using oxygen, inside of our mitochondria, which is the engines of our cells. Inside the mitochondria, glucose is broken down, which is driven by oxygen, and as a result, carbon dioxide, water, and energy is formed. If we go into it more specifically inside the mitochondria, when glucose is broken down, it gets converted to NADHs. And these NADHs donate hydrogen and electrons into this electron transport chain located in the mitochondria. And this donation of hydrogen and electrons causes a pressure to be built up in one side of the mitochondria. When this pressure is built up, it wants to move out of this pressure-filled stage into the inside of the mitochondria, and this pressure force is harnessed by ATP synthase to produce ATP, which is the energy currency of our cells. It's much akin to a dam where the water is built up and the flow of water is used to generate electricity. Much like that, this direction of flow of hydrogen is harnessed by ATP synthase to produce ATP. So, what is hydroxyl radical damage? So, this is kind of a different schematic from the one seen before, but you can see the NADH donated here, hydrogen electrons donated by NADH. Then it goes through the process, the pressure is built up here, and ATP is created by harnessing this energy, this pressure moving downwards. However, in this case, it shows electron leakage. So, the mitochondria of our cells are the engines, and during this process there are byproducts, and sometimes there is a thing called electron leakage. And when there's electron leakage, oxygen that is inside the mitochondria picks up the extra electron, which makes it a superoxide. And when the superoxide combines with hydrogen peroxide, which is also inside the cells and mitochondria, it produces hydroxyl radicals. Hydroxyl radicals are the damaging free radicals. These are the ones that go and damage DNA, they go and damage lipids, as well as proteins such as the ATP synthase. And when the damage occurs, the mitochondria don't work as effectively, and this damage spreads to other areas of the cell. So it's clear mitochondria are the source of energy, and oxygen is used to drive that process. But there's this thing called the oxygen paradox. We need to breathe oxygen in order to live, in order to break down glucose into energy. But the fact is, 2 to 4% of all oxygen turns into free radicals. So not only does we need oxygen, oxygen is actually slowly killing us. The fact that we're an oxygen-based system is just how it is, and we can't really change that. But the one thing we can do is try to counteract all of the oxygen we breathe in and all the free radicals that are formed by taking antioxidants. You can imagine kind of how deep this oxygen paradox goes when you think about the lifespan of different animals. If you think about a cheetah, it runs very fast, it breathes in lots of oxygen, and as a result, its lifespan is very short. It's only 12 years as compared to a tortoise. A tortoise moves very slowly, doesn't need to breathe in lots of oxygen, and as a result, it lives from 100 to 500 years. Another interesting thing to note is that human athletes on average live 10 years less than normal humans, and this is all because of the increased oxygen consumption that leads to production of free radicals. So oxidative stress damage happens from inside the mitochondria and starts to damage the mitochondria itself and outside, and it goes and spreads to the different parts of the cell and starts damaging and causes a cascade of damage. So oxidative stress and disease. So many different diseases, almost 90% of all diseases have been linked to oxidative stress, which is caused by free radicals. Everything from cancer to diabetes to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism. These are the big ones. But anything not related to bacterial or viral infections, you can think of them as related to oxidative stress. If you look up oxidative stress and a certain disease, for example, oxidative stress and atherosclerosis, then there's going to be research articles that show the link between the two. So if oxidative stress is the fundamental cause of most diseases, then what can we do to stop it? We need to take antioxidants, like I mentioned before. However, when we take antioxidants, there are many limitations to the antioxidants that are usually available to us. One of the biggest limitations of other antioxidants is that they are too large. Too large meaning that they can't get to where the free radicals are formed, which are inside the mitochondria, like I showed you before. They need to get rid of, quench the free radicals at the source before it gets to damage the outside of the mitochondria into the cell. So it needs to quench it at the source, but most antioxidants are much too large to do that. If you see the molecular weights of different antioxidants, you can see that vitamin C, which is a popular one, is 176, vitamin E, and coenzyme Q10 is a huge molecule, 863. So all of these antioxidants are very large molecules that cannot be absorbed very well by the body, first of all, and it can't get to where it needs to go to eliminate free radicals. Hydrogen, on the other hand, very tiny. Has a molecular weight of 2, is able to pass through any membrane very easily and be able to get to where the free radicals are formed, which is inside the mitochondria. So ability of hydrogen as an antioxidant, you can see here the different antioxidants, hydrophobic and hydrophilic. They can't really get inside, only 1 or 2 go in, and also it has to go through active transport. And these are the free radicals that are damaging the different mitochondria here. But you can see that hydrogen passes right through and is able to take care of the free radicals inside the mitochondria and inside the nucleus very effectively. So the second downfall of other antioxidants is that they are not selective, which means that they can't take care of only the harmful free radicals. There are free radicals that are actually useful in the body, such as hydrogen peroxide, which is used by the immune system to kill bacteria and viruses. And there's also the nitric oxide, which is used as cell signaling to signal to cells and also to dilate blood vessels. So these free radicals are very important to the body, but most antioxidants cannot select that. They just go after any free radical they see, and it's more of a shotgun approach. On the other hand, hydrogen is much more effective because it goes after only the harmful free radicals in the hydroxyl radicals. You can see here hydroxyl radicals here, and then when hydrogen combines with it, it turns into water. So not only does hydrogen selectively neutralize hydroxyl radicals, it turns it into water as well. So this is more of a sniper approach. It's able to take out only the bad guys. The third downfall of antioxidants is that they become free radicals themselves after they give away hydrogen and electron to a free radical. So you can see this visualized by looking at this diagram. You can see ascorbic acid here, and you see R with a dot, which means it's a free radical, and it becomes satisfied when you give it a hydrogen and an electron. But you see, once ascorbic acid gives away a hydrogen and an electron right here, it becomes it's left with a dot, and it becomes a ascorbyl radical. So this ascorbyl radical needs to go through some different reactions in order to be recycled back into ascorbic acid again, and that's it consumes energy inside the cells and it's not effective. It's not as good as it should be. If there's a way to be more efficient with taking care of free radicals, and that would be hydrogen. Like we mentioned in the previous slide, hydrogen takes care of free radicals selectively, only the harmful ones, and it turns it into water, so there's no byproducts to be taken care of by other reactions in the body. So it's very, very powerful, very efficient. So hydrogen has been proven as a powerful antioxidant in a variety of disease models. Everything from Parkinson's to Alzheimer's disease to type 2 diabetes to hepatitis. So if you look up the recent articles, we'll have a link in the next slide. You can see the different applications that hydrogen has, but it's clear so far that hydrogen is the most perfect antioxidant, is the most efficient antioxidant. Another benefit of hydrogen is that it directly stimulates ATP synthesis. This is a diagram shown before, and this NADH is from the breakdown of glucose using oxygen, and this NADH donates hydrogen and electrons to the electron transport chain of the mitochondria to produce and drive the production of ATP. Well, NADH comes from NAD+. NAD+ gains hydrogen and electrons from glucose, and basically that hydrogen electron from glucose gets donated, it gets transported into the electron transport chain. Well, the difference between an NADH, which donates hydrogen electrons, and NAD+, is the hydrogen electrons themselves. So if there's more hydrogen electrons available inside the cells, then you can produce much more NADH, which increases the donation of hydrogen and electrons to the mitochondria, which increases the production of ATP. So not only is hydrogen a powerful antioxidant, it also stimulates ATP synthesis. Another important thing about hydrogen and water is the clustering of water molecules. Normal cluster size of water is usually 15 to 17 molecules, while the microclustering of water with dissolved hydrogen is 5 to 7 molecules. We'll see why that's important in the next slide. So every cell contains aquaporins, which are the channels that let water in and out of the cell. And this aquaporin channel is very narrow. And if the cluster of water is too large, it might not be able to get through the aquaporin to go inside the cell and to hydrate the cell fully. This phenomena occurs because in every water molecule, the red is the oxygen and the white is the hydrogen. In every water molecule, oxygen is more electronegative, meaning it wants to take the electrons towards it much more. It attracts it much stronger. So when this happens, oxygen has a slightly negative charge, while the hydrogen has a slightly positive charge. And this difference in charges causes the negative oxygen and the positive hydrogens to attract each other. These are very weak attractions, but they're attractive enough for large water molecule clusters to form. But when hydrogen exists inside the water, it breaks these weak attractions and lowers the clusters to only 5 to 7 molecules, which will allow the water to move more freely inside the cells to hydrate and to detoxify.